Well, what I'd like to do today is to take a little journey with you. Maybe an imaginary journey. A journey to another world. Well, it's actually exactly identical to our world. It's a parallel universe. And it's another world that's almost exactly the same as ours, except everyone that's born there in this world has a unique feature. And everyone has it for their entire life there. And it's really not unusual for everybody because everybody has the feature, so nobody even notices. But everybody there wears glasses. And the glasses that they wear kind of colors their experience. Right? And so as it turns out, almost 80%, almost 85% of the people in this world wear gray glasses. And the energy, the vibration, the consciousness of that population of gray glasses has several attributes, several features. We'll talk about that a little bit. The interesting thing is, although it's only about 80%, which is a pretty significant number of people, they don't see any other. Everybody they see is wearing gray glasses. They don't see that anybody else has any other consciousness, any other vision, any other ability to see things other than the way they see things. So we'll define that a little bit and talk about that level of consciousness. That level of consciousness is really the hallmark, the best identifier that we could point to would be a consciousness of fear. Another one that is pretty common that we could identify would be a consciousness called victim consciousness. And it's a consciousness where we really, each of these individuals feel separate and alone. Not sure if their life is happening to them, or if God put them there, or they're not really sure exactly what's going on, but they do realize that everywhere they look, they see injustice. Everywhere they look, they see victims and perpetrators. And they live continuously in fear. And that translates sometimes into anger, sometimes into guilt, sometimes into depression. Most often, even apathy appears in this consciousness. Even shame can show up in this consciousness. If anybody's familiar with what used to be 6 o'clock news, that would be pretty close to this level of consciousness. But now it's not 6 o'clock. It's, at least in our world, it's pretty much 24/7. So, because this energy, this consciousness has an attractor field, and it kind of holds itself in this field. And imagine a world where 80% of the population is in this attractor field, this energy of victim consciousness. It's almost like being held into that consciousness. I relate it to, if you've ever been out west and gone crabbing, you might notice that they have a crab bucket and it's very shallow. And it's this big bucket but it has no lid on it. Because every time one of the crabs tries to get out of there, one of the other crabs will grab it and pull it right back down in. There's no escape. There's no need to put a lid on that. Because everybody else, all the other crabs, if you will, in that bucket, keep all the other crabs in there. We all want to be joined in our misery, so to speak, in our victim consciousness. So we seek tools and we seek methods to alleviate the pain and what appears to be suffering. Unfortunately, in this consciousness, because the body is really a gauge, like the gas gauge on our car. It aligns with our consciousness. And so in this consciousness, as you might expect, a lot of people experience illness, they experience disease, they experience separation from others in relationships, they experience, unfortunately, hatred and anger and despair. Well, it's not a pretty picture, but it is what it is. And also another hallmark of this consciousness, this level of consciousness, is that you're only happy about 25% of the time at best. You don't really experience joy very often at all. It's almost always something happening to us. And so it appears that the world is happening to us. And so we're just trying to navigate through it. It's almost like an onrush, almost like a storm continuously. Sometimes it'll quieten down a little bit, but there it starts again. And we're just trying to navigate our way through it. And in this world, in this universe, about 80% of the people there exist in that level of consciousness. But there's another 20% of people that live in a different consciousness. And the thing that begins to cause them to begin to actually allow them to transcend that level of consciousness is this thing called desire. Now, desire is one of those elements within that consciousness that we can lock ourselves in because of desire. When we're desiring to win, we're desiring to beat somebody else. We see it as a zero-sum game. And if somebody else wins, then I'm losing. So I have the perfect right to steal or even murder or do whatever I need to do to survive because it's all about creature survival. But this element called desire also is a tool. And if we really start tapping into this tool called desire, it can begin to lift us out of that consciousness. And so as it turns out, about another 20% of the people on this world, our imaginary world, as we look in on them, are wearing blue glasses. And this is a whole different level of consciousness. Now, they see all the people with the gray glasses, and they love the people with the gray glasses, and the people with the gray glasses really like to hang out with the people with the blue glasses because they're happier. They're a lot happier because they're beginning to see that they can set an intention for their life. They're not really victimized by life. They're beginning to realize that they actually have some amount of control, that they can begin to manifest abundance in their life. They can begin to manifest relationship. They can manifest health. They can begin to have some control. And so they can control their experience of life. And their glasses literally begin to change color. And next thing you know, they're wearing blue glasses. And the cool thing about the people with the blue glasses is that they can look around and they see other people that are wearing blue glasses. So they recognize each other right away. Look around the room. You see anybody with blue glasses in the room? People that may be a little bit more comfortable in their skin, a little bit more loving, maybe a little bit more forgiving, maybe a little bit more willing, maybe a little bit more allowing. See, these are the hallmarks, these are the attributes of those who have, I'm going to say, ascended in consciousness to the next level of consciousness. And as it turned out in our parallel world that about 20% of the people there are wearing blue glasses. They're in that consciousness level. Now, the hallmark of this consciousness level is that they literally kind of, again, following their intention and following their desire, they begin to be more willing. A common phrase is, oh, well, something happens and it appears that it's a calamity or a situation that's not too comfortable, and someone with the gray glasses is looking for somebody to punish, and somebody with the blue glasses is willing to say, it is what it is. You know? It just is what it is. That's the way it is. It's about moving into a consciousness of allowance and acceptance that we talked about this morning in the reading that Carl read. So the people with blue glasses then tend to be much happier. In fact, as soon as they reach a point of being willing and have the courage to be self-honest, and this is a word that we all use frequently and we hear about frequently, but it's a really important word. It's called integrity. As soon as anyone begins to have and hold the element of integrity, in other words, to be self-honest and to be honest with others and to not be fearful of sharing their true thoughts. This is one of the tenets that Reverend Claudia and I when we first started dating, I said, when you come to my house, there's only 2 tenets in the house. It's pretty simple, right? No private thoughts. Nobody's got a problem with that, right? No private thoughts and no people pleasing. Nobody's ever done that either. Because when you're people pleasing, you're manipulating. You're trying to make people happy to be, if you're not doing what you want to do, if you're not being self-honest and honest with the people around you, then you're really trying to manipulate them. We do the best we can, depending on where our level of consciousness is. And we can't really move beyond that. Again, it has an attractor field. And again, people that are in the gray glasses, they love hanging out with the people in the blue glasses because there's just always a lot more joy and a lot more fun to be around. But the people with blue glasses, they like hanging out with another group of people. Now, this is a very small, because if I'm going to say 78, 79% of the people are wearing gray glasses, and another 20% are wearing Blue glasses, it doesn't leave very many options after that, yes? It's almost like a pyramid. It gets pretty lonely at the top. But that next level is called the pink glasses. Oh. Now, this level of consciousness colors my world completely different. Oh no, I wrote this in red. I can't see it now. So whatever glasses you're wearing really colors your whole experience, doesn't it? So what's the trigger for this level of consciousness? Actually, it's moving beyond reason. It's moving beyond intellect. It's what our favorite pets know. When you hear that cat purring, it's got the pink glasses on. Okay? When you see that dog wagging that tail, he's got the pink glasses on. It's all about love. Oh, I can feel it. It overwhelms me. I come here because I feel it here. I need it. I need to be in your company. It's when we slip out of the mind of reason and intellect and we begin to just allow that vibration of acceptance. Another word that is our whole theme for this month is called forgiveness. And forgiveness is simply to move back before we gave. Like we say, foreclosure. Nobody knows what that is, but a foreclosure is moving back before you had a closure on the mortgage, yes? Forgiveness is moving back before you gave something. What would that be that you gave? What do we need to move back before we gave? It's called judgment. Simple. Not easy. It's called forgiveness. Moving back before we gave judgment. And what do we see with anyone and everyone when we withhold judgment? What's left? What is left to witness? Innocence. Before you color someone with your thoughts, your consciousness, whatever that may be, gray, blue, pink, you're painting a whole different picture of this person or this situation or this thing. It doesn't matter if it's our pets or the world or the news or our neighbors or our brothers and sisters or our spouse, our parents, the people in our community. If we withhold judgment, that's huge. But to go back before you gave judgment, wow, that's really something. Because the only thing that's possible for you to experience before you lay judgment on it is innocence. Love now begins to grow into something that we all are familiar with, a term we're all familiar with called unconditional love. So what is unconditional love? Unconditional love is simply love given without any expectation of return. Oh, I love my kids, but they don't ever come to see me. Doesn't matter, does it? I love them because I love them. I love my parents because I love my parents. I love my children because I love my children. I love my fiance because I love my fiance. No expectation of return. That's a high call, yes? So it's love that's given defenselessly. You see, defense is an attack and comes from this gray glass perspective of fear, that there's something to lose. There's nothing to lose. When you get to the pink level, you're just accepting everything just as it is. No questions asked. No need for discussion. No need for judgment. It is what it is. So we go from love to unconditional love. And now the people at this consciousness level, they are just tickled to death, joyful, almost 75, 80% of the time. And the blue people love to hang out with the people with the pink glasses, yes? People with blue glasses always want to hang out with the people with the blue glasses because they feel that energy. And the attractor field that I was referring to grows exponentially. Just a couple of people in the room with pink glasses on would literally completely override almost the whole audience of people that were wearing gray glasses, their power level is really very small, very low. Where someone with blue glasses is huge, exponentially huge. And then someone with pink glasses, exponentially bigger than that. Joyful almost all the time. And when anything comes up, it doesn't trip you up for 3 years, 3 months, or 30 years. In my case, sometimes, right? We look back, and that's called a grievance or something that vengeance and things like that. We hold that for decades sometimes. Well, somebody with pink glasses on, something triggers them, and boom, they drop it within seconds. Within seconds. And so they're really joyful almost all the time. But while there's only a small number of people at that level of consciousness in our imaginary world today, there is one more level of consciousness, right? And in the song that Susan was singing, she said, "I can see clearly now," right? It's the clear glasses, right? I can see clearly. This is what we might refer to now as a level of surrender. So we moved from desire and intention and allowance. Now we've moved to surrender. We surrender all to the voice, this inner voice of wisdom within us, which is this vibration of love. And it is a voice of wisdom. It can guide us, but we have to connect with it. We have to join with it. We have to ask, "Are you there?" And listen, not fill in the blanks. Ask for the truth and be willing to listen for it, not fill it in for yourself. And so the people in our imaginary world, a very small percentage of people, but a very powerful group of people, some that are in this room with you right now, are operating at this level of consciousness, and they can see you very clearly. One of my favorite phrases when I consider that would be, and Claudia mentions it, some Reverend Claudia mentions it sometimes. She'll say, when I'm looking at my cat, I go, "Well, I see you." You ever look at someone that you love and just look in their eyes and just say, "Hey, I see you." What do I see? I see the Christ in you. I see the innocence. I see the love. There's nothing to judge. Not because you're acting good, but because you are good. You're created perfect, neither behind the point of perfection nor advancing toward it, and you must see yourself therefrom. And the best way for you to see yourself from that place is to see your brothers and sisters from that place. When you withhold judgment, or when you move back before judgment and you really are seeing the innocence in your brothers and sisters, then you're seeing your own reflection. Because there's never been anything else there except your own reflection. You can't ever judge anybody for anything that you haven't already found yourself guilty of and judged yourself for and have not forgiven yourself for. That's why you're projecting it out on the world. So we're going to come back to our world now. And we're going to consider our sister world, our parallel universe. And we're just going to allow the opportunity to consider, what color glasses are we going to wear this week? Right? Because we have a choice. We have a choice. In fact, that's the one constant. In all of our daily experiences, we have a choice in every moment to choose only love. Just like in the reading that Carl said, he said, as you move more and more and more into mastery, and that's what this is. This is mastery. This is about mastery. This is about evolving consciously into mastery of what? Of yourself. As you move more and more into mastery, you will be sorely tempted to believe that you are done. But I ask you to persist. And I challenge myself to persist day in and day out until finally I can see clearly. Until finally I know the truth. And one of the most important tips that I'll leave with you and share with you today also refers back to the reading that Carl shared. He said, humility is the recognition that the more you move into mastery, the more there is the desire for discipline and vigilance. Discipline and vigilance for what? Our own thoughts. It's about the art of thought, the art of discipline, to just simply observe and watch our own thoughts. Am I holding a thought about the past? Am I holding a thought about the present? Am I judging, fearing the present? Am I reconstructing the past, judging? Or can I just now be present? Can I put on those clear glasses now and see the world in a new way. And I know the truth is, absolutely, each and every one of us can. And sometimes it's nice to have a little roadmap just to kind of help us remember how to stay on the path. And that's all we ever need to do. And as you do, because as you evolve consciously, you will continue to attract more and more and more brothers and sisters into your life, like the people in this audience here this morning. We are all here to love you. Each and every one of you is absolutely critical to the success of all the rest of us here. Please don't ever forget that. We love you. We need you. Thank you.